I want to welcome everyone to the webinar. My name is Kevin Booker. I'm a principal engineer with Sonoma Water. I would like to welcome you today to the webinar on North Bay Utilities' response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And this webinar is hosted by BAYWORK, and you'll hear a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes. And so right now we have about 49 participants, which is really nice. Today we have 4 great speakers from various agencies and responsibilities in terms of number of staffing and the type of work they perform to speak to you on how their agency responded and are responding to the pandemic. We hear similarities and differences between each agency, as well as some out-of-the-box thinking about responding to the pandemic. Our goal is to have different agencies of different size, with different sizes, share their experience. And so hopefully that can relate to you and your agency. On the screen is the agenda. As I said, following this little welcome introduction, Robert Scott, who's the Vice Chair of BAYWORK, will give a summary of BAYWORK and their mission. And then we'll jump into our speakers. Again, we have 4 great speakers, and they'll talk about their agency and how their agency responded to the pandemic. And then following that, we'll open it up for a Q&A period where you can ask questions to the panel and get responses. And then we will sort of end the day with some closing remarks from me. What I would say is, in between speakers, if we have the time, we will take questions. And then if we don't get to your questions, then please, when we have the Q&A, ask your questions at that time. And so with that, let's get going. We'll go to our next agenda item is Robert Scott. He's the Vice Chair of BAYWORKS. Go ahead, Robert.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad that you can join us today for this exciting topic. We're going through this change, unprecedented times, so it's good for us to discuss it. I just want to talk to some of you. I think many of you are probably familiar with BAYWORK, but so I'm sure some of you are not. And for those that are not, I just want to briefly discuss who we are. BAYWORK is a consortium of now 38 Bay Area water and wastewater utilities. And we're working together to ensure that we serve our community and protect the environment. Basically, we believe the water and wastewater industry experience operational reliability through workforce reliability. And therefore, everything we do is geared towards supporting the workforce, both present and future employees. So we hope today's webinar will be beneficial, and we thank you for being with us today. And just to see who we have in the audience, you can see on your screen there's a polling question. And we're going to ask this question now. In case you don't see the polling question for whatever reason on your screen where you can poll and make your response, just type it into the chat. But if you do see the polling, then go ahead and respond, please. And I see responses are coming in. And so we're just asking, what type of work do you do at your agency? And there's a selection of responses: emergency response preparedness, asset management, public information or outreach, operation and maintenance, IT, administration, other, or it's not applicable. Please choose one of those responses. And we'll give it a little bit more time. We'll close the poll in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're closing the poll. Let's see our results. All right. So we see that most are in operation and maintenance, about 40%. And there's 24% of us that are from administration, and then we're scattered throughout the others. All right, thanks for participating. I want to talk to you a little bit about using the chat. And I know at this point, at this point in the pandemic, most, if not all of you have been on Zoom at some point, and you're probably familiar, but just in case, we would like to direct you to the chat icon at the bottom of your screen. And you can see there, just type in the chat. Again, as Kevin said, we're going to be taking questions throughout, and after each presentation, we'll take a few, and then at the end, we'll have panel questions. But if you have any question, type it into the chat, and we'll try to make sure we answer it. And be sure to, it should already be directed to go to everyone. And so we'll be monitoring that. So we would love to have your participation in this way. And here's another polling question we have for you. Again, just to assess your experience. And it reads, in terms of emergency response, which type of event poses the greatest challenge for your agency? Is it fires, floods, COVID-19, public safety shutoff, or earthquake, other, or none of the above? Wonderful. I see many answers coming in. Great. So which emergency poses the biggest threat to your agency? All right. We're gonna close the poll in about 5 seconds here. 3, 2, and 1. We'll close the poll now. And let's see the results. We see that most, 36%, is earthquake, and right closely behind is COVID-19. I guess that's not surprising, especially since we're here in California. I see not many of you are too concerned about the public safety power shutoff at 14%. That's not too bad though. Great. Thanks for responding. We got a little feel for our audience today.
Okay, thanks, Robert. So I just want to talk a little bit about how we came to have this webinar about the pandemic. And from my point of view, it's really not about the pandemic. It's really more about sharing information and thoughts and ideas. And where this comes from is at Sonoma Water, during the PSPS, weekly we held meetings with the utilities that we wholesale water to. And that was just to share information about the status of our facilities and what we're doing. And then what it turned into is that everyone would share, status of their facilities and what they were doing. And so then it got to a point where we all knew what each other was doing and the status of everyone's system. Fast forward to December of 2019, we have at Sonoma Water detected a pipe that has some serious corrosion. So during the design and construction process, we reconvened that group and we let that group know about the status of what we were doing, the design, and when the construction was happening, when the pipe was going to be shut down. And right as that pipe was being repaired, or the repair was being completed, the pandemic started. And it turned out as our last meeting with that, it shifted into the meetings continued once a week, but the discussion centered around COVID-19. And the discussions were really about sharing information about what each agency was doing in terms of response to COVID-19. For